It's with great pleasure that I introduce the next speaker of this session. It's Professor Ayman Mohaned Fakhrey from Egypt. We all know that Egyptian history and medicine is before ancient Greek medicine, and we know that you have done even operations in the brain before 2,000 years ago. And it's with great pleasure that we're going to listen to your introduction. Professor Fakhrey is a professor of vascular surgery in the Egyptian Military Academy. He's the CEO of the Egyptian Venus Forum and member of the Egyptian Vascular Fellowship Scientific Committee. We welcome you, and we are eager to listen to your introduction, Professor Fakhrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a great honor to be here with you. And I'd like to thank Professor Brodoro and the organizing committee for giving me this chance to be here discussing the main and a very important issue. It's an honor for me to be there with you today. Let me share my screen, please. Do you see my screen now?
Now, yes.
Do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to discuss Egyptian medicine in the antiquity in relation with Hippocratic medicine. As a matter of fact, I have a potential conflict as I am the grandson of Imhotep. Let's start our talk by what did Herodot say about the Egyptian medicine that was practiced among the Egyptians on a plan of separation. Each physician treats a single disorder and no more. Thus, the country swarms with medical practitioners and some undertaking to cure disease of the eye, other of the head, other again of the teeth, others of the intestine, and some of those from not local. The ancient methods dates back in Egypt to 3,500 years till 525 before Christ, where the Persian invasion started. And as you know, Egypt was a structured society with tools such as written languages and mathematics, which enabled them to record and develop ideas, and then they can teach and learn. Ancient Egyptians believed in prayer as a solution to health problems, but they also have natural, practical remedy and herbs. Let's start our talk by the preservation of decades people as mummies. This means that they learned a lot about how—
Professor Fakhrey, sorry to interrupt. Can you please click the hide on the white bar under your screen? Do you see under your slides the little white bar? Can you hide that, please?
Click I don't hide. See hide.
It's right on the left of the blue letters that you see there, where it says stop sharing, and then to the right it says hide. Can you hit the hide?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now I keep on my presentation. Knowing the preservation of bodies as a mummies mean that they learn a lot about how the human body works. In one process, the priest doctor inserted a long frock, hooked implanted through the nostril, and broke the thin bone of the brain close, and just remove the brain through this hole. Of course, medicine must be started in a school of medicine. We have a lot of the school of medicine in Egypt. Let's say about School of On, this is the first one in Shams. Memphis School, this is created by Imhotep and Abydos, Tal el-Basta, School. And to have medical schools, we have medical books. There's a lot of papyrus, as you see. This is a lot of papyrus here. And the most, one of the oldest one is the Epirus papyrus. And these documents contain over than 700 remedies and circular formulas. The author probably wrote them around 1500 BC, but the document contain copies of material dates back to 3400 BC. The most important in this was the channel theory. The ancient Egyptian believed that the body consists of a system of channels or a meter. If any of these channels blocked, the patient will suffer pain or illness. Again, the Epirus papyrus noted that vessels run from the heart to all four limbs, as you see in the demonstration at the left corner. Four limbs and every part of the body. The center of the body blood supply is the heart, and every corner of the body is attached to a vessel. The heart was the meeting point of the vessel that carried tears, urine, semen, and blood. Also, it discussed mental illness and describes treatment and disorders such as dementia and depression. And as you see, this is one session of mental treatment. Also, gynecology and obstetrics. The Epirus papyrus said a lot about family planning. The scroll contains section of birth control, how to tell if a person is pregnant, and some other gynecological issues. This is, as you see here, this is Isis sitting on a stool, ready to get her fetus, and now the fetus comes out of her and another demo. What about doctors in Egypt? Doctors in Egypt are classified in three categories: priest, full doctors, and assistant doctors. Full doctors are again classified into three doctors: civil doctor or snow, specialized doctors as wapu, and female doctors as snowet. And assistant doctors are two. This is the snow, and this is the wabu, and this is the Sanwit, the female doctors. Imhotep was the most Egyptian famous, and he is known as the one who comes in peace. He was a minister and the engineer of King Zoser in the third dynasty, and no direct texts were mentioned from him, but medical papyri, the first may have been authorized by him, known as the architect of the first pyramids in Saqqara, who worshipped in the later age and in the Greek-Roman era as a god of medicine, and linked him or identified him with the god of Asclepius, the Greek-Roman god of medicine. As you see, this is Merit Betah. Maybe this is the first doctor in the history, and is known as the chief of male doctors in ancient Egypt. And as you see, this is the chief physician. That means there is a lot of female doctors at the time. And again, the doctor in Sachet, and it is birthed at 2500s and was known as the supervisor of the lady to the female doctors. Again, this means there are a lot of female doctors in ancient Egypt. What about the dynasty? As you see, this is Hasira. This is the chief dentist and head of King's book, and maybe the first dentist in the history. And they know a lot about caries and tooth decay. And as you see, this a mummy with alveolar teeth were cracked or due to alveolar abscess. Tikara in the Old Kingdom, this is the court physician of the court, and Dr. Ari, doctor of ophthalmology. Maybe this is the first doctor of ophthalmology. This is nice. Again, this is Joharizant. This is a physician in the time of Cambyse at the Persian time, and he is the dean of the School of Medicine. Haris Sisi or Ibn Nahusi from Amasis to Darius I, chief physician of Upper and Lower Egypt, commander of Greek military, prince of the sea of the royal fleet. His tomb was buried in Saqqara. This is some of surgical instruments that they used in their work. And again, this is the first surgery in the world. They're doing circumcision, and this is amputation. And again, they not amputate only, they make prosthesis. This is wooden big tool, and they know about how to make a prosthesis, and they know a lot about the biomechanical thinking that's to keep the patient walking normally. Orthopedic medicine, they treat the dislocated shoulder. Polio, this is a case of polio, they recognize polio. They treat fractured bone, as you see, and this is a spine of a child with tuberculosis. Neurosurgery, as dear professor said, they made the terrifying operation 2,000 years before century. This is the skull with the terrifying. It is presented in England at the museum. The interrelationship between Egypt and Greece dates back to Basmatic the First. It is not a recent one. It is related to Basmatic the First, who would come at his time. Many of Greek people came to Egypt, and they start first translation in Egypt. Nicetas translated the first papyri to Greek language, and Egypt remained the destination of the Greek civilization until the region of Galen in the 2nd century after date, when the Memphis school was still strong and overflowing in Egypt. Enrollment in these schools require specifications and good education, excellency in good financial condition, and good family and knowledge of the secrets of relations, magic, and general knowledge. Hippocrates, the great Hippocrates, visited Egypt and studied the Egyptian medicine. And at the era of the Greek time, they put Imhotep and Hippocrates, Asclepius as a god of medicine, and again they put Tut, Imhotep, Hermes, Asclepius as god of science and knowledge at the Ptolemaic era. Hippocrates, the great Hippocrates, was born 460 in island of Kos. This is the famous ancient Greek physician who lived during the classical period and regarded as a father of medicine, visited Egypt and stayed for a while studying some of Egyptian medicine. Imhotep, Emothens, as it's called by Greek language, may be the first, by Hippocrates still was the most influential physician of all times. So he is called by many the father of medicine. Back to Herodot, he said Egyptians are the most healthy people on the earth, together with Libyan. Homer, the great poet, in Odyssey said, in Egypt, the men are more skilled in medicine than any of other mankind, and the Egyptians were more skilled in medicine more than any art. And in the Iliad, he said, it is blessed country where each man is a doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. very much, Professor Fakhrey, and for sharing the principles that were described in the ancient medical papyri and its relation to the corpus Hippocratus. The similarities in understanding the cause of disease is quite striking. And it became very clear that both ancient Egyptian as well as Greek medical ideas spread all over the world and were held in the highest regard. We thank you so much for sharing with us your in-depth information and insights on the high standards and practices in ancient Egyptian medicine. We have gone over time. Thanks with Professor Papadonio, we were able to catch up just a little bit in this session, and I think I will give the floor back to our moderator, our common moderator, to go to the next session. Thank you all for joining us for the second session of this Congress.